Hey, here we are. I'm only, a minute late? Whoops. It's alright. Things happen. Just get the tablet. Come on. Here we go. And then Shri Shu One. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. I'm used to saying that. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Well, you can probably hear it in my voice. There's a little bit of a rasp. I feel fine. Feel perfectly fine. There's a little bit of a cough, which is pretty typical of me when I have a cold. When I finish up a cold, I feel fine. Just get some congestion. I just have to be careful not to go too hard, so I don't kick my body back over into being sick, which I have done in the past. Not easy to do. Cat, you're fine. Oh my god, does anybody want a cat? It's driving me nuts. So last night's Martial Arts Radio Live went well. It's probably across the board a good 8 to 10 people who showed up and participated, and it was a lot of fun. It's not. How do I want to say this? It's not about how many people show up. It's just about having fun. It's about doing it differently. It's about different types of content. It's about me engaging with the audience. It's about me getting better doing live things. Everybody wins. Um, if I was to go back to martial arts radio and expect that the first few episodes were gonna, take off and be indicative of some, phenomenon, I would have stopped after 3 episodes. Because they didn't. It's taken years. It's still growing. We're still seeing the show spread. And now we're starting to take some of what that taught me and some of that content, and it's getting adapted into books because there's a tremendous amount of information. So be careful of how you define success, I guess is the point, because sometimes you don't know what you got. Sometimes you don't know what you need, have, whatever. Right? So many more book ideas. In fact, one of the notes can we roll out before people get irritated? And I think if they're targeting different people, the book, the Martial Artist Handbook is very general, so that, in theory, is for anyone. But what about a self-defense bullying book for children? What about a self-defense book for non-martial artists? I think there are a lot of ways we can take the knowledge, the information that's been presented on the show, that's been shared by some of these wonderful people, and adapt it into forms that work for others. So what happened yesterday? Got a lot done. Had 2 podcast interviews, did the live episode, did a bunch of work at my desk. Ooh. And honestly, most of the afternoon, there was about a 2-hour block in the afternoon. I didn't do much because I needed to just chill. Thought about taking a nap, didn't take a nap. But I just needed to decompress. Two episodes in a day is a lot. 3 is really a lot. And then when you add in first cup, that's a lot of time me being on. And I like doing it. But it doesn't mean it's not work. It doesn't mean it doesn't require a lot of being present. So what's happening today? I have no appointments on the calendar today. I'm very excited about that. And getting some work done. I don't think I even have any phone calls. So getting some work done, coaching some CrossFit, coming home, going to bed. And I'm looking forward to it. Got a big weekend coming up, traveling. And I'll tell you more about that on probably Friday. So, yeah, let's look at some questions. If you want to ask a question, drop it below. Tablet's being weird. Please tell us more about your new hiking boots and why you chose them. Okay. So I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, that I picked up a pair of new hiking boots over the weekend. New used hiking boots. Over the last few years, I have shifted into very barefoot, minimalist style footwear. My knees are much happier, but it limits what I can wear. The vast majority of shoes out there that claim to be barefoot style or minimalist style really aren't. They have a lot of drop, meaning the angle from heel to toe, and when you have that, there's usually a heel here, right? And so when you step, you do a lot of that heel toe rocking action. That's what my knees don't do well with. So I found a few brands that work really well. I have to order all of them online. There isn't anybody in the area that carries them. In fact, most of them I don't think are carried in stores at all. Lems is one brand. Belleville is a military. Well, they're at least part of their business is military contractor, and they make some great boots. But nothing I have works well for winter hiking. The Bellevilles are great, but they're so tall that it's virtually impossible to tie them in a way that keeps them from moving around. And the last time I hiked, I ended up with a blister on my heel, which was unpleasant. The Lems are warm, but they're not really waterproof, and they're not really durable. If I was to fall, there's a really good chance that I could twist an ankle. So I wanted something that was more of a hiking boot, and I spent a bunch of time over the weekend researching, and there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there that I can find in the way of a really durable, over the ankle kind of hiking boot. So I ended up at a local store that does consignment and found a pair that I can make work. They were used, they were already broken in, and they were $35. And what's nice about buying something like that is you can use it. And if it doesn't work out, you can return it. Unlike buying new shoes where the moment you take the tags off, the moment it looks even like you've breathed on it, they're not taking it back. So I like being out in the woods, and I like feeling safe out in the woods. Right? This comes back to my over-prepared, under-prepared concept. You can be over-prepared, you can be under-prepared. You're never going to be perfectly prepared. I will always choose to be over-prepared. And wearing boots that are a little bit more durable and protective of my foot is part of that. What does getting out into nature do for you, and what can it do for others? It's my ability to be by myself, to unplug, to not work, to spend some time by myself and just be. One of the things I like about hiking is that there's something to do. You're putting one foot in front of the other. You have a purpose. And it's very simple, but it takes the majority of your thought and your time to be out there in the woods and go. And the things you have to worry about are, you know, am I getting enough water? When is it time to stop for a snack? Things like that. So it's life very distilled. It's very simplified. And for someone like me who has a lot of noise going on in their mind a lot of the time, that's very appealing. I like hiking. I like walking. Because it's meditative. Do I think of things sometimes? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I have ideas and I take out my phone and I type them in and resume hiking. That way I don't have to mull over them. I don't have to obsess. And sometimes there are things that I think about a lot. Things that won't go away. Sometimes they do. I've just always enjoyed being out in the woods. The Japanese have a term, and I don't remember what the Japanese term is, but it translates into English as forest bathing. The idea that being out in the woods has actual measurable health benefits. And I can't say I've read any of the science on it, but I would believe it. There's something about being out there. There's something about being among the trees and not having to worry about much. Dress appropriately, bring some food, bring some water, know where you are. It's pretty great. One of the things I love about my phone, about having a phone hiking, is there are apps you can download that make it really safe and really easy to wander around by yourself. Oh, I'm on the trail, I'm not on the trail. And while most of the places that I hike, I don't have service at the bottom or even during the hike, I do at the top. So if you get in trouble, you either got to make it back to the car or you got to make it back to the top. I think to say it another way, life is pretty complex for me, for most people. Hiking simplifies things. Camping simplifies things. Being on vacation simplifies things. Much of the time. You go to a place, you're doing a thing. Either there's less to worry about or other people are worrying about it for you. And that's nice. But it's not as necessary when you find ways to simplify day to day. Whether that's, and I think this is the third question, so let me pause. Why do you think so many of us in the Western world don't always value things like quiet time in nature? So you can take that concept of not worrying about things, even for a little while, and incorporate that into life. And that could be meditation, it could be going for a walk, it could be shutting your brain off and watching TV. I think it was yesterday I talked about waking up early to watch a movie and how that was an important part of me finding time for me, and it made my life better. Why don't we value that? Because we're taught that by most parents, most of society tells us that that time is wasted, invaluable. There's something you could do. There's more you could do. Go, go, go. Right? There's a finite amount of productivity anybody has in a given day. And there are things that you can do short term to become more productive. Yeah. But most people seem to be good for about 6 hours a day, tops. We'd say most people are 4. On a good day, I can get 8. A really good day. And that involves me just checking all the boxes, and it's the right day, and I'm just in a groove. Those are rare. I've looked, how do I try to set life up so I've got 6 hours of work a day? And it just, I can't do it. You know, so I can do this show, go to my desk, get a couple hours in, take a short break, do a few more, and, you know, by 2, 3 o'clock, yeah, I'm starting to spin down. But I'll actually take the next few hours, even if I'm 20% productive, and still try to get more done, because it's more. And when you don't have anybody else picking up the slack, it's got to get done. You get as much done as you can. I think we're getting to a point where we are valuing this stuff. I think we're starting to realize that the way we live in modern Western society has a lot of problems, and it creates a lot of health issues that are really expensive to deal with. And it's going to take some time, but I think we're going to take a big step back and realize that we need nature, we need farms, we need food, we need breaks, we need to rest, and we need to use some of this technology we've developed, some of this efficiency, to create some space for ourselves, not to find ways to become more and more productive. Because otherwise, what's the point? Why bother having that technology? Let's allow ourselves to be happy. Allow yourself to be happy. What makes you happy? Make sure there's space for it. And if you don't know, maybe you need to leave some space to figure it out. Cool. Remember, we do this show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, here on YouTube. Catch it later in your podcast app or at firstcupwithjeremy.com. If you want to ask a question, drop it below or email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. And make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter. Make sure you're subscribed to Martial Arts Radio. Make sure you're just following everything that we're doing, so you can pick and choose what works for you. Because I don't expect everyone to be following everything. That's my job. No homework today. Actually, I take that back. Your homework today. Take a few minutes for yourself. Whatever that means to you. There's a near infinite number of ways that can surface. And if you say you don't have time, that's bull. You can find 2 minutes. It could be 2 minutes in the car before you come in the house after work. It could be 2 minutes before you go into work when you get there. It could be 2 minutes of your lunch. It could be going to the bathroom and not actually, and just locking yourself in there for 2 minutes and just counting from 100 to 1 backwards or something. Just find a spot and give yourself the freedom to occupy that spot for just a little while. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Peace.